And we're taking a trip back to the 90s with the DVD release of the first ever television show created entirely with CGI.
That's right.
No one knows for sure, but I intend to find out. Reboot!
Remember that show set inside a computer where characters fought viruses and dodged falling game cubes?
And they have to fight off things like viruses, they have to fight off computer games.
Reboot wasn't just another Saturday morning cartoon, it was television's first fully computer-animated series that pioneered CGI technology.
A Reboot was and always will be the first ever computer-generated television series,
while disguising sophisticated commentary about artificial intelligence, digital existence, and technological evolution as kids' entertainment about a guardian defending his digital city. Today, we're counting down 20 wild facts about the show that revolutionized animation technology, but nearly bankrupted its creators in the process. 20. It was the first fully CGI animated TV series ever. Reboot premiered September 10, 1994 as television's first completely computer-generated animated series.
It was the concept, it was a show in CG set inside a computer and
predating Pixar's Toy Story by over a year. Canadian studio Mainframe Entertainment created every frame using SGI workstations and proprietary software, with no traditional hand-drawn animation whatsoever. The technological achievement was revolutionary, proving CGI could sustain weekly television production rather than just theatrical shorts. Each episode required thousands of rendering hours across multiple computer workstations running 24/7. The production demonstrated that CGI television was technically possible, but also revealed how expensive and time-consuming the process was, nearly bankrupting Mainframe multiple times during the show's run. 19. Episodes took 6 months to produce. Each episode required approximately 6 months from script to final delivery.
It's part of 9 months, I think, to produce that episode. To build everything, we had to build all the characters, we had to build all the sets.
Due to primitive CGI rendering technology and limited computing power, episodes were produced in batches with overlapping schedules, but individual episodes took dramatically longer than traditional animation. Rendering single frames could take hours on 1994 technology, with complex scenes requiring overnight renders. The extended production timeline meant writers had to plan story arcs far in advance and couldn't respond to audience feedback quickly. The slow production demonstrated CGI's technical limitations. What now renders in seconds took hours in 1994, making television production incredibly challenging and financially risky. 18. The show was set entirely inside a computer. Reboot's revolutionary premise placed all action inside a computer system called Mainframe, where programs were citizens, viruses were villains, and incoming games were natural disasters.
And all the characters, and working out how to animate it, render it, get it to tape.
The digital setting allowed creative visual storytelling impossible in physical worlds. Characters could reformat themselves, locations could be deleted, and reality itself could be rewritten through code. The premise was sophisticated allegory about digital consciousness and artificial intelligence disguised as action-adventure show. The computer setting enabled writers to explore philosophical questions about what constitutes life, consciousness, and existence, while maintaining surface-level entertainment that children could enjoy without understanding deeper philosophical implications. 17. ABC censored the show into incomprehensibility. ABC's Standards and Practices Department demanded extensive cuts and dialogue changes that often destroyed episodes' narrative coherence. Censors removed any violence, changed dialogue referencing danger, and forced rewrites, eliminating conflict. The censorship was so extreme that some episodes made no logical sense after edits, character motivations became incomprehensible, and plot developments seemed random. Mainframe Entertainment fought constantly with ABC censors, arguing the changes damaged storytelling. The censorship battle demonstrated American networks' paranoia about children's programming content even when shows were clearly fantasy with no realistic violence. The sanitized American versions contrasted sharply with uncensored Canadian broadcasts containing original intended content. 16. The rendering computers kept crashing and losing work. Mainframe Entertainment's rendering farm crashed regularly, losing hours or days of completed work requiring complete re-rendering. The primitive computer systems were unstable, and software bugs frequently corrupted files. Artists arrived at work to discover overnight renders had failed, forcing them to restart from scratch. The technical instability created unpredictable production schedules where episodes scheduled for completion could be delayed weeks by rendering failures. The crashes demonstrated that CGI production was bleeding-edge technology fraught with technical risks. The lost work contributed to Mainframe's financial struggles. They paid artists to produce work that computers then destroyed through crashes. 15. Characters were named after computer terms and viruses. Every character name referenced computer terminology. Bob, basic object. Dot matrix, printing technology. Enzo matrix, her brother. Megabyte, data measurement and virus antagonist. Hexadecimal, numbering system and virus. Mouse, input device. And Fong, rendering technique. The naming convention reinforced the digital setting while functioning as educational introduction to computer concepts for young audiences. The clever names worked on multiple levels. Children accepted them as character names, while adults recognized the computer science references. The naming demonstrated the show's commitment to maintaining Digital World's internal logic, rather than importing real-world naming conventions that would break immersion. 14. The show featured real computer game parodies. Incoming games that threatened Mainframe were parodies of real video games, including Mortal Kombat, Pokémon, Dragon Ball Z, and Star Wars. Characters entered games and assumed different forms matching the game's genre. Bob became a warrior in fighting games, a starship pilot in space games, or a racer in driving games. The game parodies allowed incredible visual variety within episodes and served as commentary on gaming culture. However, the parodies also created legal concerns. Game companies could potentially sue for unauthorized use of their intellectual property. Mainframe carefully avoided trademark names while making parodies visually obvious enough for audiences to recognize the references. 13. The show was canceled 3 times. Reboot was canceled and revived 3 separate times across its run. ABC canceled it after 2 seasons due to poor ratings in heavily censored American versions. Canadian network YTV kept the show alive, commissioning 3rd and 4th seasons that aired in Canada before finding American distribution. The 3rd season's darker tone and serialized storytelling made American networks nervous, delaying U.S. broadcast for years. Cartoon Network eventually aired later seasons, but in late-night slots rather than Saturday morning. The repeated cancellations demonstrated the show's challenging commercial position, critically acclaimed but struggling to find sustainable broadcasting and sponsorship in children's television market. 12. Season 3 featured a literal war arc. Season 3 abandoned episodic structure for serialized war story where Megabyte conquered Mainframe and our heroes mounted resistance campaign over multiple episodes. The season featured character deaths, psychological trauma, and years passing in story between episodes. The darker, mature content was revolutionary for children's programming.
Let me go.
Risk it. I gotta help him. Listen.
Portraying genuine consequences, moral complexity, and refusing reset button storytelling. However, the tonal shift alienated some younger viewers expecting lighthearted adventure while attracting older audiences appreciating sophisticated storytelling. The season demonstrated that children's animation could evolve and mature with its audience rather than remaining static, though commercial viability of that approach remained questionable. 11. The CGI improved dramatically across seasons. Early episodes featured primitive CGI with blocky character models, limited facial expressions, and stiff movement. Later seasons showed remarkable improvement as technology advanced and Mainframe's artists gained expertise. Character models became more detailed, facial animation improved expressiveness, and movement became more fluid and natural. The visual evolution across seasons documented CGI animation's rapid technological advancement during the 1990s. However, the improving quality also meant earlier episodes looked increasingly dated, creating aesthetic inconsistency across the series. The visual progression demonstrated both CGI's potential and its challenges, technology advancing so rapidly that shows became dated before completion. 10. Mainframe Entertainment nearly bankrupted multiple times. The show's production costs far exceeded revenue from broadcasting and merchandising, pushing Mainframe Entertainment to bankruptcy's edge repeatedly. The studio took emergency loans, delayed employee paychecks, and sought additional investors to maintain operations. CGI television production was so expensive in the 1990s that even successful shows struggled financially. Mainframe survived through diversifying into commercial work and other productions, using Reboot as portfolio piece, demonstrating technical capabilities to commercial clients. The financial struggles revealed that pioneering new technology creates enormous financial risk. Being first means bearing development costs competitors can later avoid by learning from your expensive mistakes. 9. The show tackled artificial intelligence and digital consciousness. Reboot explored philosophical questions about artificial intelligence, digital consciousness, and what constitutes life. Sophisticated science fiction themes rarely addressed in children's programming. Episodes questioned whether programs were truly alive, whether they had souls, and what obligations creators owed their creations. The show portrayed digital beings with genuine emotions, relationships, and existential concerns indistinguishable from human experience. The philosophical content was often subtle but consistent, treating digital life as legitimate rather than simulation or metaphor for human existence. The themes anticipated contemporary debates about AI rights and digital consciousness before these became mainstream philosophical concerns. 8. Hexadecimal was groundbreaking female villain. Hexadecimal, the chaotic virus with rapidly changing mask faces expressing emotions, was complex female antagonist unprecedented in children's animation.
Brother, the principal office is screaming out to be destroyed!
She was neither purely evil nor redeemable, operating by incomprehensible, chaotic logic. Her obsessive attraction to Bob created uncomfortable, predatory dynamic, where powerful female character desired male protagonist who didn't reciprocate. The character refused categorization, sometimes helping heroes, sometimes threatening them, always unpredictable. Her complexity and agency distinguished her from typical female villains who were either seductresses or jealous rivals. Hexadecimal demonstrated that female antagonists could be genuinely threatening, psychologically complex, and central to narrative without being defined primarily by relationships with male characters. 7. The show featured surprisingly dark content. Later seasons included on-screen deaths, permanent character transformations, psychological torture, and existential horror about deletion and non-existence. Characters faced genuine trauma with lasting consequences rather than episodic reset. The show didn't shy from depicting emotional pain, moral failure, and situations where heroes couldn't save everyone. One character spent years trapped in games fighting for survival, returning psychologically damaged. The dark content was remarkable for ostensibly children's show, trusting young audiences to handle complex emotional storytelling. However, the darkness also contributed to commercial struggles as networks worried about parental complaints and sponsors feared association with potentially controversial content. 6. It pioneered serialized storytelling in CGI animation. Reboot was first CGI series to feature ongoing serialized storylines with character development, evolving relationships, and permanent consequences across episodes. Early seasons were more episodic, but later seasons embraced serialization fully, with multi-episode arcs requiring viewers to watch in order. The serialization created deeper emotional investment, but also barriers for casual viewers who couldn't jump in mid-season. The approach anticipated modern television's preference for serialized storytelling, but was ahead of its time for 1990s children's programming. The serialization demonstrated that CGI could support sophisticated narrative structures, but also revealed commercial challenges when broadcasters preferred episodic content, allowing flexible scheduling and easier syndication. 5. The fandom kept the show alive through campaigns. Dedicated fan community organized letter-writing campaigns, petitions, and online advocacy that directly influenced the show's multiple revivals. Fans contacted networks, studios, and advertisers, demonstrating audience demand for continuation. The organized fandom was among earliest examples of internet-based fan activism, successfully influencing production decisions. Mainframe Entertainment actively engaged with fans online, acknowledging their support and providing updates about revival efforts. The fan campaigns demonstrated that passionate niche audiences could keep shows alive even when broader commercial success eluded them. However, the reliance on fan activism also revealed the show's precarious commercial position, requiring constant advocacy to prevent permanent cancellation. 4. The technology became obsolete during production. The SGI workstations and software mainframe used became outdated even during the show's production, forcing expensive mid-series technology upgrades. The rapid obsolescence meant equipment purchased for early seasons couldn't render later seasons' more complex scenes efficiently. The studio faced difficult decisions about whether to upgrade systems mid-production, risking visual inconsistency, or maintain outdated technology, limiting creative possibilities. The technological obsolescence demonstrated CGI's unique challenge. The tools become outdated so quickly that long-term productions face constant pressure to upgrade or accept increasing inefficiency. The equipment costs contributed significantly to Mainframe's financial struggles as they invested in technology that depreciated almost immediately. 3. It influenced Pixar and DreamWorks' approach to CGI. Pixar and DreamWorks animators studied Reboot closely, learning from Mainframe's technical solutions and creative approaches to CGI storytelling. The show demonstrated that CGI could convey emotion and character despite primitive rendering capabilities. Pixar cited Reboot as proving weekly CGI production was possible, though financially challenging. The show's technical innovations in character rigging, facial animation, and rendering optimization influenced theatrical CGI animation's development. However, the influence was primarily technical. Pixar and DreamWorks learned from Reboot's expensive mistakes, benefiting from Mainframe's pioneering work without bearing the same financial risks. The show's legacy includes technical contributions to CGI animation that often go unacknowledged commercially. 2. The series finale ended on unresolved cliffhanger. The show's final episode, Demon Rising, ended on massive cliffhanger with major plot threads unresolved and characters' fates uncertain. The cliffhanger ending resulted from believing another season would be commissioned, not realizing this would be the series finale. Fans waited over a decade for resolution that never came through television. A limited web series, Reboot: The Guardian Code, premiered in 2018 but completely rebooted the franchise rather than continuing original storylines, disappointing fans seeking closure. The unresolved ending became one of animation's most notorious cliffhangers, demonstrating risks of serialized storytelling when commercial circumstances prevent planned narrative completion. 1. It proved CGI television was possible but not profitable. Reboot's greatest legacy was demonstrating that fully CGI television production was technically achievable, paving the way for later CGI series. However, the show also proved that pioneering CGI television was financially unsustainable in 1990s market conditions. Production costs exceeded revenue, requiring constant financial struggle to maintain production. The technological achievement didn't translate to commercial success, despite critical acclaim and passionate fan base. Later CGI shows benefited from Mainframe's expensive lessons. Using improved technology and production techniques the Reboot crew developed through trial and error. The show succeeded artistically and technically while failing commercially. Pioneering achievement that didn't profit its creators, but enabled entire industry to follow. So there you have it. 20 wild facts proving Reboot wasn't just a groundbreaking animated series. It was a technological revolution that proved CGI television was possible while nearly bankrupting its creators, demonstrated that children's programming could handle philosophical complexity about digital consciousness while struggling to find commercial sustainability, and pioneered serialized CGI storytelling that influenced Pixar and DreamWorks, even as it failed to achieve the financial success its revolutionary innovations deserved. The wildest part? A show literally about programs fighting for survival inside a computer system spent its entire existence fighting for its own survival in the brutal economics of children's television, ultimately achieving technical and artistic immortality while never escaping financial precarity.